Hello everyone. There's a time I almost got married when I was 17 years old, but a total stranger came to my life and rescued me. So, welcome to my YouTube channel, From the Village to the Netherlands. And the reason why I talk about my real story, I just want to encourage someone. And again, I have this big dream. I would want to start a girls' education foundation just to support those poor girls back in that village. They cannot afford to go beyond high school simply because their parents are so poor. They cannot pay their school fees, and that's why I want to come up and be part of their accomplishment. Because like I was there the other day, and when I looked at them, I saw doctors, I saw engineers, and then I was like, probably some of them might not realize those dreams if someone doesn't come to rescue them as someone came to rescue me. By subscribing to my YouTube channel, you will have helped me to accomplish this big dream. So, how did I meet this total stranger? Remember in my previous videos, I talked about how I was born in a poor village to poor parents, and the poverty began with my great parents from my father's side. He was born to poor parents also, and he had a brother who was very smart, intelligent, and he went beyond primary, secondary, university, and later on he got scholarship and he went to further his studies in abroad. But my father had to sacrifice almost everything for the sake of this little brother. Did not go to school. I think he went for 2 years and then he had to drop. And then started as early as he was young, he started to do casual jobs. He was cutting trees and making charcoal and selling the charcoal. People in Kenya, they understand what I mean. And through that, he could raise some money, and the money he could pay school fees for my uncle. That was like 40 years ago. And for a child to go beyond primary school, secondary, university, it was not normal. It had to be a lot of sacrifice from someone. And that is exactly what my father did. My uncle got a scholarship from Korea to go and do his master's for 2 years. And when he was there, he made friends. And one of his best friends was a Korean man. And of course, he was very much interested to know how life is it in Africa. And my uncle was telling him how he was born in a poor family, how the brother is struggling so much back in Kenya to raise his many children. So this boy was so much touched by my uncle's story. And he promised my uncle that when we finish the study, he would want to go to Africa with my uncle to visit his family and also to experience the real life. So my uncle wrote a letter to my father, and I remember very well sitting with my siblings, my big brothers, and my father was reading the letter from my uncle. He talked about how they are planning to come, and my father had to make preparation for the visit. What excited me is that I will see a white man. Yeah. Anyone who was out of Africa and was not black, who did not have our color, and especially the hair was different, we used to call that person Mzungu. We never knew there is a Asian, there is a American, there is a European, or brown or white people with long black hair, not curly like for Africans. We used to call them Mzungu. Mzungu, it's a white man. I was so excited knowing that soon I will meet a Mzungu. I will speak to him in English, the little one I had exercised in my 2 years in high school. So, back in my high school, remember I said, the first year my parents could pay my school fees without any problem. The second year it's when problems started, and before the end of second year I had dropped out of school and I was doing casual jobs and saving the money and paying for myself for school fees. But it came to a time there were no rain that period, and it was so dry. We never got anything on the farms. That means my parents could not sell anything to raise my school fees. And again, we could not even get those casual jobs from the rich people. It never rained. That means there were no anything on the farms. So I had no money to go back to school, and my parents had nothing, and that killed my dreams. I was so stressed, but again I said, what can I do? Nothing. I never wanted to accept that I'm going to get married as most of my friends. I grew up in primary school, they were home married and with babies. But I remember when I was in high school, there's this young boy who never went to high school because the parents did not have school fees, and he started working the casual jobs. He saved the money and he started a shop in the village. And he was so smart because after some time the shop was a little bit expanding. He learned. I dropped out of school. He asked if I could go there. I worked there. I helped him. And of course, he could pay me something small, you see. But as I started working there, you know, it's like he started tuning me. And yeah, it was like, I'm looking for someone to marry. You're a beautiful girl. I know you have big dreams to go to finish high school. Probably you go to university. And but according to how life is, you've told me you cannot see accomplishing this dream. So why can't we get married? We will have a nice family. We will have children. We will educate those children beyond primary, go to university, and they will take care of us. Yeah, I think he had a point. And according to me, because I had nothing else to do about my education, raising school fees, I was ready to get married to this young boy. My uncle came from Korea with his friend, and they traveled from Nairobi to my mother's village, which took them 10 hours. This was a lifetime experience to this young Korean man, because even today we are still in good contact with him. He always tells us about that first experience. First, the bus was very old and it traveled slowly, stopping almost every town, you know. And again, the roads were so poor, there were not tarmac, and that's why they took like 10 hours to arrive at the village. When they arrived, of course, it was a big surprise for the whole family, and not only our family, but also to the neighbors, because I remember we had told them, my uncle will come with a white man. So like the whole village, you know, they came to see this white man, because I believe probably 99% they had never seen a white man. So apart from this Korea, seeing a lot of experience, different cultures, we also had a different culture from him, because one, he's a white man. Second, you know, Koreans, they have small eyes. It was a nice experience, let me say that. But I was so happy because he wanted to communicate. We could communicate to him through my uncle, because definitely my uncle could speak good English. But again, sometimes when my uncle is not there and he wants to talk, it's my father was like, Pauline, come, help. So me, I was there exercising my little English as learned in high school just for like 1.5 years. And that gave me a good experience. Entire week they stayed. Of course, my father explained to my uncle, and then my uncle was telling him the way he has problem of raising the children, the way I cannot go back to school simply because I don't have school fees and they cannot afford. And this young man was so touched by my story, and he promised when he goes back to Korea, he's going to take to the parents and they are going to see how they can send school fees for me. So he stood by his word, because he started sending school fees through my uncle, and then the money was going direct to pay for my school fees, and I had to go back to school. So I repeated the second year, then I continued my third year, my fourth year, and I finished well. I sat for the final exams and I did it so well, such that I qualified to go to one of the universities, but it never happened. I never went to the university. And that's why my next video I'm going to talk about after getting good marks. How comes I did not go to university? So stay tuned, and please, if this story has touched you, subscribe, give me a comment. Probably you can share with me how you were brought up. And again, don't forget to like and give me a thumb. So stay tuned for my next video. It's about, yes, after high school, what happened. Remember, this is my real story, just to encourage someone and also to accomplish my big dream to start this foundation to rescue those girls still trapped in that village. So thank you so much and be blessed.